Alright everyone, so we're going to go ahead and finish up on our Zentangle leaves. This part is pretty easy. Realistically, you can use whatever material you'd like to finish your leaves. You don't necessarily need to use what I'm using, but if you don't have anything else to paint it with and you'd like to paint, then you can use these materials. So I'll be showing you a tutorial on how to paint with washable markers, and so if you have watercolor paints and you'd rather use that, if you have acrylic paints, you can use that, that's fine, or crayons, color pencils, the basic materials are also fine. But for now, I will show you how to paint with washable markers. What you'll need for this is, of course, washable markers. You'll need a piece of saran wrap or a plastic bag. You will need a paintbrush, water, and paper towels just in case you make a mistake. So to begin, I'll take one of my washable markers and I'm going to scribble all over this either piece of saran wrap or piece of plastic that you have. It could also be a Ziploc baggie if you don't have anything else. That's what I'm using. So I'm just taking my washable marker and I'm just scribbling all over it to get the pigment of the marker onto the piece of plastic. Now, if you notice, I have a piece of white paper underneath. That's so I can tell what colors I'm actually using and making sure that those are the colors that I want to be painting onto my piece. Now, you don't necessarily need to be using greens or anything like that. I'm using all greens and yellows on mine, but you can paint this however you want, honestly. It doesn't matter too much. So then I'll take my paintbrush and dip it in a little bit of water, just like regular watercolor paints. And I'll swirl it around in the pigment of the marker, make sure we have it pretty good on there, and then I will go directly into painting my piece. It's pretty straightforward. It's basically the same thing as using watercolor paints, except you're just using markers for this. The pigment does show up pretty well, so it is pretty vibrant of a color, depending on the type of markers that you're using. The markers that I have are just from the dollar store, so it's not like they're anything great. I'm sure Crayola markers would work better if you had something like that. But overall, this is pretty much the entire thing. I'm just painting on the colors that I choose to decorate, okay? Now, if I want to switch the color later on, what I'll do is I will take my paper towel and I will wipe off the piece of plastic so that I don't have any moisture left on the plastic. If I color onto the plastic with another marker and the plastic's wet, then of course I'm going to ruin my marker. So make sure you use that paper towel and wipe off, like what I'm about to do right here, the extra paint color that you don't want anymore. So then I'll go ahead and choose another color or two. Remember, you can also blend the colors together. This is really just a cool technique that if you have nothing else to use, that you can just go ahead and use markers to paint with. From here, I'm actually just going to go ahead and fast forward through the rest of it. Again, if you don't have markers or if you don't want to paint with markers, you can use watercolor paints or acrylic paints or crayons, color pencils, but this is just a cool little technique that I wanted to show you. So I'll go ahead and fast forward through the rest of this. Enjoy. I hope you have fun with this project, and I can't wait to see how they come out.